Santa Marta is a slow town on the Caribbean coast that seems to actively avoid history. But inside one of these rooms, a clock on the wall marks a precise end. December 17th, 1830, 1 o'clock, 3 minutes, and 55 seconds in the afternoon. The man who died here had crossed the Andes and liberated half a continent. He ended his life in exile, buried in a shirt borrowed from a neighbor because he couldn't afford his own shroud. Historical movements don't always collapse during the heat of a war. The decay often starts the moment the victory is won. Today, his presence saturates the Western world. His bronze statues watch over global squares, and 2 different countries are named after him. This is Simón Bolívar. Understanding why he died in a borrowed shirt is essential to decipher the changes happening in the world today. The man who laid the foundation for South American republics was eventually chased out by them, accused of the same tyranny he had just defeated. Society builds statues to heroes as a way of consuming an abstract ideal, while ignoring the structural failures of the reality they left behind. Bolívar's ultimate defeat wasn't delivered by the Spanish Empire. He was broken by the nature of the freedom and peace that followed. Once the colonial order fell, regionalism surged. Early democracy became a violent competition for power redistribution among local factions. A revolutionary's vision of unity quickly becomes an obstacle to local warlords. In this new climate, the liberator is rebranded as an enemy of the state. Near the end, Bolívar wrote that his life's work was like plowing the sea, describing a landscape that was inherently ungovernable. When a revolutionary completes their task, they frequently find they have become a liability to the order they created. That 19th century collapse is the direct ancestor of modern geopolitical weakness in the Americas. A unified South America was intended to be a massive counterweight to the United States, keeping the hemisphere's power in check. Without that balance, U.S. hegemony has been able to reach into fractured southern nations and remove political targets at will. When a region fails to integrate politically after a revolution, it eventually loses its sovereignty to unified superpowers. Power moves like tectonic plates. While the old Atlantic powers drain their energy through internal friction, the ground is rising in the east. On the other side of the Pacific sits a superpower built on a foundation that is the mirror opposite of Bolívar's fractured continent. China survived civil wars and colonial interference because it completed the grueling work of political unification over 2,000 years ago. Historical integration is the base requirement for civilizational self-reliance, the same hurdle that tripped up the Americas. This momentum is expanding to encompass other Asian nations, moving the world's center of gravity toward a different kind of integration. The shift mirrors the same objective Bolívar pursued: a massive experiment in building civilizational independence through political scale. These global changes eventually lead back to the quiet garden in Santa Marta. We aren't doomed to the same fragmentation as old empires. Because the world turns, power will always